Here's one word. The meaning of life. Yeah. Previously on Kimba TV. Right? Like I'm thinking to myself, fuck man, I would love a long right there. I would love a long right there. I didn't get it. You know, it is what it is, but I was ready to long this bitch. Point of control, like, are you fucking kidding me? Obviously, I needed it to do exactly this reaction. It needed to dip its toes in and then get out. It like kind of front ran me, whatever. You know, I still kind of had the right idea. And if I had gotten filled, as soon as it broke out, my stop loss would have been in profit, so I wouldn't have lost. So whatever. And then I would like be aiming for TP1 for the gap close and the VWAP as resistance. Akachuya! How we doing, Lions? All right, I'm flying back to New York today, so I have about 3.5 hours with you guys. Shall we get nasty on them, Lions? Happy Friday, motherfuckers! I'm already in a long, but yeah, let's see if it comes back to settlement, but I mean, today's pretty easy, like, no, something like this. Might not even come back to settlement though, might just hold VWAP. How much time do we have until markets open? 45 minutes. Okay, let's watch. How we doing? Y'all ready to juice? Burbeezy says easy math. Yeah, pretty straightforward. You know, we wouldn't want to lose that low. That low is nice. So obviously any sort of long attempt would be, stop loss would be that lower low. You know, we got value area low and settlement right there, and then your value area high is up there too. So obvious resistance coming in. I'm sure that's a Fibonacci level too. Yeah, so point of control and your untapped point of control is at 102,000, but assuming that we can get above that, we should be able to clean that single print today. So, well, I don't know about today, but yeah, everything looks good. So, yeah, hopefully I don't get stopped out, but if it does push back below the VWAP, then watching the reaction at settlement should be interesting at US market open. Kachai how we doing? So Guru says you don't look at gap at 91,125. Do you remember when we talked about that yesterday? So Guru, exclamation YouTube. What did I say about that? Yeah, I mean, we're not longing that. That would be extremely bearish. So I'm already in a long. Yeah, I think that's resistance if you want to short. That's resistance if you want to short. VWAP, easy money, Bugatti money. Any long any sort of long, your invalidation would be right there. All right. Ludo says low is bad on exchanges. Remember, do you remember what we said, Ludo? Do you remember what we said? Yeah, it's all about CME, my boy. Forget derivative exchanges. So compare the volume between CME and derivatives. You don't remember? Yeah, it's from about 3-4 weeks ago. It's in one of those YouTube highlights. Alrighty. Yeah, forget the. I mean, it's not too bad. Yeah, it's actually not. It's not too bad on 1 hour. What does it look like on 4? Yeah, it's a rounded bottom, so it's not too bad. I wouldn't get so caught up on like bad high, bad low when the CME volume is so bullish, because, I mean, we had an extremely bad high and a gap at the top, and we still dropped 15,000, 14,000. Yeah, so go with CME data. Alrighty, and if CME starts to have candle closes below settlement or VWAP, then you start thinking about, okay, well, maybe the derivatives could clean it. All right, but go with CME. I don't know if you've been noticing, but I've been charting a lot on CME, and I actually did all of my KYC and paperwork stuff, and I'm trading big money CME now. So I think it's a little bit easier than derivatives, to be honest. EE says, LOL, I started learning a month ago. It all sounds like Chinese. It'll sound bing bong ding dong ching chong wing bong for at least 2-3 years. Yeah. What does CME mean? Yeah. So in New York, so Wall Street, stock markets, right? New York handles all of the spot. Okay, so imagine like New York and Wall Street is like Coinbase. Okay, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, or CME, or Chicago Board of Exchange, CBOE, they handle futures markets. Okay, that's why CME and S&P futures and all future products, they last an hour after Wall Street closes, because Chicago is an hour behind New York. All right, so yeah, EE, what I would do if I were you is learn and understand the history of the different financial markets. Yeah, because if you don't even know what CME means, you probably haven't watched a lot of like Fox News or just it's like CNBC Business. But yeah, just start watching like, you know, business TV, and you should be able to pick up on like, you know, simple shit like that fairly quickly. All right, but New York, Wall Street, they do spot, Chicago does futures. All right, so CME is Chicago Mercantile Exchange. All righty. Sprayer says, so charting on CME and use it to trade derivatives on preferred exchange? If you want to, Sprayer, everything in this game requires you to see it for yourself and understand it. So instead of just concluding that you should chart on CME and then use it to trade derivatives, do that for a couple of months and years and see how you like it. Sounds good? It's a game of probabilities, so you never want to try to replicate somebody that replicate something that somebody else is doing. You want to try it for yourself, have enough sample size, and see if that's how you want to do it. Mo guy says, hopefully the CCV plays out. Yeah. Daily open, outside of previous day value area low. Kachoy Shibaya. Bayram says, when ETH moon? We've already done the TA. Are you caught up, Bayram? Exclamation YouTube. Exclamation YouTube. Are you caught up? Did you take the scalp long that we were talking about, I think, a day or two ago? So it's easy money. I mean, hopefully it happens soon. So can you see it? So this is the long, and then value. Okay, so same story. We've been taking these longs for about a couple months, right? The value area, I was about to say value area the value area high bullish retest. So yeah, assuming that this holds and we're outside of value, it should clean that. All right, but yeah, we talked about longing this yesterday or maybe the day before. Yeah, as soon as it broke out of value area high, we talked about, you know, longing this. So hopefully you were there. All right. But everything is talked about days in advance. So don't be that dumbass that just is too lazy to get caught up on this. You know what I mean? All right. But yeah, already talked about it. I think 2 days ago, Bayram. All right. But the other thing too is like, if you can just learn and understand how I would look at stuff and play this, I don't know how many times I've been talking about, hey, some of these altcoins are outside of value. All right. And so when it leaves value, your first area of interest for a long would be the value area high resistance getting turned into support. All right. So even if you didn't hear me talk about, hey, man, this could be a good long, just understand the concept. Value, bing bong ding dong. If it goes outside, that would be a nice long. Same way that if you lose the value area low and it's a bearish retest, well, that's a good short. Okay. What you want to look for is what does that look like? Because obviously if it's like a structural edge, then that's the long. All right. So look to, have a higher time frame idea of if it's bullish or bearish. Obviously altcoins were longing everything, right? So you can start to identify levels, look for edge, look for open interest edge, CVD divergence, and take it. All right. Bayram, let's go. Easy money, Bugatti money, boy. All you know is what is not arguable. You know where they opened. You know how much they opened. You know how much is still open. And you know when they become trapped. Just go with that, man. So for me, none of that shit really matters. I just understand that somebody fucking longed 12 million at the first sign of resistance. So that's kind of goofy. And I don't know if that motherfucker is going to get stopped out. I don't know how big of a pullback we could get to stop that motherfucker out. All I know is maybe I should go play Warzone. But I don't need to be staring at this shit. You guys see what I'm saying? So he probably gets lucky, but we probably shouldn't guess what's going to happen. Who cares? We could sit here and talk about who's going to get squeezed. It's probably more indicative of something like who's not in a long yet. If you're not in a long yet, your bias is going to tell you, oh, that motherfucker got to get stopped out. If you have a short from like 104 or 103 or, anything really from this cluster here, you're thinking, oh my God, oh my God. Your subconscious bias is always going to give you the narrative that makes you comfortable the most. You got to be self-aware of that. Okay. So don't sit there and place another bet on who you think is going to get stopped out. We already know golden pocket and that naked untapped point of control is the first level of resistance, right? So we need to get above that before we can aim for the value area highs and the single print, which is our true target, right? So that's it. It's just goofy that it's just hella funny. Like, where was this guy? You know what I mean? Like, what was he looking at down here? Was he not, he clearly doesn't have the Kimba Gang VWAP template. You never know. Maybe he just woke up. Maybe Marcus Cypher B printed a green mushroom diamond at the bottom, and so that's why he market longed. I don't know, but yeah, anyways, I'm just chilling. I'm chilling. For me, I want to see the levels that we talked about this morning, which is the naked untapped point of control, and then single print. And y'all know, if you've been watching for the last couple of weeks, y'all know that that's every single time I've taken a long, I've said any long TP would be this one. So, we don't know if this is going to hold as resistance or not. We're going to just give it time and see. If we can clear that, then I think we've got the green light for that, and maybe even possibly all-time highs. We don't want to have that shit happen on a weekend because CME is paused and the whole bad high, weak low, poor, or excuse me, bad high, poor, weak high doesn't get clean. So it's completely counterproductive to what we're trying to do. So yeah. All-time high on a Friday would be crazy. Yeah, I don't want it. I don't want it. What I would prefer, Doobie, is let's just math it. Let's just go to that single print at 103,600. Let's maybe top longers get trapped up there. Motherfuckers that think we're gonna go get all-time high today, right? Because imagine like a really strong violent move up to 103,600. Sato gonna top long that hoe, right? So I think it would just be nice to math it, I'm going to TP like 40% because it is a scalp. It's the day-to-day shit that we talk about. And it's on CME. So I'm going to TP 40% of this long right here. And then the rest can run. I might actually have to do even more because if it like nukes and it gaps open, I don't have the luxury of like, oh, I guess stopped out and profit type of shit. It'll immediately close me out on Monday settlement or Sunday reopening. So yeah, maybe even more, 60% maybe. Doobie says we can't lose, and either way we prepared for sure. So I always what are some of the things that I always promise you guys? You guys will have an opportunity every day to see if you're learning and improving. How many of y'all, maybe this week your juice was VWAP? How many people really starting to understand VWAP, anchor VWAP, session-based VWAP, major minor? How many of y'all really starting to like fuck with VWAP and you're really getting curious about VWAP? How many of y'all really fucking with the gaps? What do you think about the RTH gaps? RTH gap enjoyer, stand up, right? Gap, you fucking with the gap, Chris? What about just understanding like structure change, right? What about settlement? What about the settlement? I'm gonna include settlement and value into what I call level boys. How many of y'all are level boys? The level gang, the level to levels, the church of Levelania. And how many of you guys are starting to understand that if you combine all of that, you can do something like me where you're thinking to yourself, okay, we know that it's bullish. So where are the levels that we would potentially look for along? Well, we were looking for, this was the morning TA, right? We did this and then this, right? So we identified the TPs, but, and then if you're understanding VWAP, you might be pulling fibs, you might be doing whatever, but you might start to put entries from VWAP all the way through settlement if you want to. How many of y'all have seen me draw this many, many times? And how many of y'all remember when I was like, this was an easy trade? How many of you guys have seen me draw this so many fucking times in confluence with the gap confluence? Like you were like, yo, okay, Kimba's talked about this before. And with market structure, if it gets above T-val low, I can either market smash here now, or that would be the bullish retest that I would wait for anyways. So he's right. Let me market smash, and that's my stop loss. Not specifically anything to the topic that I just mentioned, but how many of y'all in general are just learning and improving? And you're able to take what you're learning and put it into play. Because you know what retail does? Retail doesn't even know what kind of risk they're taking, and they'll gladly fucking bottom short and top long. I'm asking you guys to trust what you see yourself and put that and risk seeing if what you've seen happen over and over and over can work for you, right? There's motherfuckers out there that have no clue what they're doing and they're bottom shorting and top longing. All I'm asking you guys to do is take risk on the shit that you're seeing happen over and over again and trust that. Not me, not what I said, not my signals, not my plans, but what you've seen yourself. Pretty cool, right? How many of y'all feel like today, right now, you feel like you're a little bit of a better trader, whether it's VWAP, whether it's the value play, whether it's settlement, whether it's CME, whether it's gaps, whether it's S&P Confluence, whether it's divs, whether it's looking at open interest. How many of y'all feel like you're a little bit of a better trader right now in this moment, in this second, than you were on Monday or this Sunday? How many of y'all feel like you're a little bit better? Just, even if it's just a margin of 0.00001, it does not matter. Are you better than you were on Sunday? Did you see something? Did you learn about something? Is there something that you can add to your arsenal and your own strategy and your own planning? Stop the music. And you see how like it's all just personal preference, ladies and gentlemen, right? So like I said earlier today too, it doesn't matter if you longed here with me. It doesn't matter if you longed here, right? As long as you didn't short, right? It doesn't matter if you TP'd your long. Maybe some people got round tripped on their long. I don't know how that's possible, but you know, as long as you're not longing here, you know, you're not wrong to not TP all of your long, right? I mean, if I know a bunch of you guys shaved, which is dope. But it's not wrong if you don't want to close your whole long. You don't have to necessarily take that short. You just can't long up there. Does that make sense? And that's why I can root for the longers. I can root for the shorters, as long as you're not this dumbass. Make sense? Easy money, Bugatti money. Look at the math. Are you surprised? Hello? We're just pixel fucking the math, Lions. Okay? So hopefully nobody is getting got, but man, what a juicy fucking day. There has been not one single mathematical invalidation. This is like almost scripted. Okay, 7505 rotation, done. Is the golden pocket going to turn into support? Coincidentally, that's also time being spent above settlement, above value area low or below it. Isn't that interesting? Math. Let's get it. Stop the music, stop the music. The markets just gave, hey, if you were bullish, if you were bearish, if you wanted a short, if you wanted a long, the markets just gave you an opportunity to prove it to yourself, to see if you actually know what you're doing or not, Lions. We are blessed for that. You gotta feel like you're thankful for that. Are we mathing or what, man? Are you serious? Are you serious? But maybe it would have been better when Buzzo could cover. You know, just in case Sato gets liquidated and revenge depots and we have to counter again, you know? Lions, what y'all think, man? We mathin'? So, from an S&P perspective, I need this bitch to get back in the gap. So, the longer that we spend outside the gap, even though it's been filled, would, you know, designate continuation down. All right, so if it really is gonna bounce from here and hold that low, then it's gonna get back into the gap, probably in the next, 60 minutes. I would give it 2 or 3 30-minute candle closes outside to be like, oh man, it's not gonna be able to get back in. Biddy, kind of same thing. It's got to get above point of control. The point of control that was up here has now moved. More volume is shifting down here. That is the first sign of a little bit of bearishness. The point of control being up higher is bullish in the range. If the point of control moves down, then that means there's more volume building up. So that's actually bearish. So something to kind of keep in mind. Again, though, that untapped point of control at 102 is the target. That's the one you want to get first. That high isn't the greatest either. So, nothing's really changed. This is kind of where it tests you on what is settlement to you. You know, what is value area low to you? How much time do you individually, because there's no right or wrong, but based off of your experience and your strategy and your planning and preparation, how much time or structure do you give below settlement or below value area low? All right. So, yeah, I mean, in my opinion, you know how I feel about that. Everybody saw that 5-minute ding, ding, ding. Did everybody see the 7505 rotation and the golden pocket getting turned into support on the smaller time frame when I was showing it live? That was pixel. It really doesn't get. This is the closes. Okay, so you can see it broke out, back tested, and it's going. 7.5, touched, came back, tested. That's that candle close right there. That's basic structure, right? You guys remember what we talked about as your invalidation for any long attempts for today? So stop loss and profit. If you got round tripped or stopped out, you had a really easy way to re-enter. We just talked about in the morning, where, you know, like maybe you are gonna market smash when it gets above value area low, and then the structure is your stop loss. Once structure changes, and I think on the 5-minute you already have changed structure, so stop loss break even. Some people market smash the settlement, stop loss break even. So every fucking day, every moment, this market is gonna be like, yo, you know how to read this shit? You know what this means? You know how to pull fibs? You know how to look at ES? Look at this. And it really starts with, I mean, how many of y'all were here, went to hear my live hesitation to put that, but then eventually I was like, you know what? We got, and look, it changed, but we were like, you know what? We got to put that there for worst case scenario. So it lost GEX, worst case scenario, and it came to like 7.5 retracement. It never spent time below settlement. It never spent meaningful time above value area low. So the long hasn't been invalidated. In fact, this is kind of what we wanted, right? Patience pays off, ladies and gentlemen. Oops. This, and then this. So, yeah, I mean, I think it was just like a really nice pop quiz today. Once again, bookmap, my bad. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. So, really, like, you know, if you were able to follow along and put together everything with me, Gucci Magucci, Lions. I don't know really what to tell you. What you think? I got round tripped and I longed again. Good shit. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to tell y'all, man. Have an amazing weekend, Lions. And I'll see you guys bright and early on Monday, ladies and gentlemen. FOMC week. Lock in. Have a great weekend, y'all. Make sure you guys take some time. Sato, tell them what happens if they don't use good risk management.